Hey guys, it's Geeky. Just wanted to give you a quick heads up about this episode. This will include pretty much a giant lore dump for the backstory of the world. So if that's not really your cup of tea, you can go ahead and stay tuned for the next episode, or if it's already live, go ahead and just click next. But other than that, if you want to sit back and enjoy some story, break out the Cheetos and Mountain Dew and enjoy. So, alright, take it away, me. Who is that voice?
It doesn't seem like I'm very welcomed here. Well, whatever. Hey you, over there, are you okay?
What happened to me?
What do you mean, what happened?
I think I was attacked by a strange monster. Then I heard a loud sound that startled me, and I don't remember anything after that.
What the? Did she faint in real life too?
Nuh-uh.
At
For
any
real?
rate, I'm glad I got here in time.
Who are you?
Who, me? Oh, well, I'm an investigator for CC Corp.
Okay, so he's been
Administrators?
in
A
all
game
sorts of
master?
stuff.
Well, something like that. I got a report about a bug in this area, and so I rushed right over.
So, that monster was actually a bug?
Right. It would probably be best to stay away from here until the data finishes repairing.
Oh, he's Yukio Okumura from Blue Exorcist.
No way in hell that was a bug, Data.
I knew I recognized the
How could a
voice.
player faint from something like that?
He also voices Broly in Sparking
Not
Zero.
to mention, what was that
Cool.
giant puppet thing that defeated the monster?
Puppet?
He's in all sorts of stuff.
So, you were able to see the Avatar.
Avatar?
That's right, Mr. Haseo, the Terror of Death.
Do CC Corp investigators usually remember a player's nickname?
Hardly. I couldn't help but think it was too much of a coincidence to meet up with you here.
Yeah?
What?
Why is that?
Nothing, just talking to myself. I bet that you would like to know a lot more about avatars. Am I right?
Not really.
You can use one too.
Huh?
Wait, what?
The fact that you were able to see my avatar means that you and your character have the right attributes.
Haseo, your character hides something. There is a dangerous power inside you.
Oh, so that's what she meant.
Come over to our headquarters and you'll see.
But how is it dangerous,
While
though?
you're at it, you might be able to get some info on Tri-Edge.
How did you... Who told you about that?
Like I said, that's just one more reason why you should come.
Alright. Coon!
Looks like this is a big fiasco.
A little bit.
Just brush off something that happened to you like this.
What's wrong, Haseo? Why are you acting so scary all of a sudden?
Because you passed out IRL!
You'd have... No, it's nothing.
Oh, okay. But I caused you a lot of trouble with what happened, right?
So you realize it.
I'm sorry. Do you think that you could give me another chance?
Another chance. For what? I mean,
Listen, the next time you invite me, make it somewhere where we can level up.
you gotta level up, gotta level up. Dun 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 dun. Okay. Even a lost ground should have a platform. We need to know... Or we need to find that to return to town. And we got an email. There it is. 500 emails. Great. Alright, let's see what we got here. Okay. The Lost Ground was full of surprises, wasn't it? There was the monster that looked like a bug and a system admin, but most of all, that person beneath the lake's tree felt very strange. What do you think was that sound I heard from his direction? What do you mean by that sound? Alright, syllabus. Hey, Haseo. Hey, Haseo, how are you doing? That place the other day was pretty rough, wasn't it? I never thought we'd encounter PKs. By the way, I forgot to tell you about the settings for the skill trigger menu. Of course, you probably already knew this since you're the Terror of Death. Anyway, this is how you set it. Press Y to open the main menu, select the skill trigger, and your current skills and skill trigger panel status will be displayed, so you can change them as you wish. It would be a waste if you weren't using the skills you have, so once you learn a new one, open the menu and check out the panel settings. Oh, and just in case, I'm going to write down other basic battle stuff, although you may already know about them. Quick Rise, press B when knocked down, and Quick Rise Attack, A when knocked down. Yeah, I already knew that. Most of the time I just use Rise Attack. Use them when you're knocked down. If you're knocked down and want to get up, use Quick Rise. If you're surrounded by enemies, use the Rise Attack. Also, don't forget, you can enter area words at the Chaos Gate to access a bunch of areas of different levels. Speaking of which, we should go grind levels sometime. We could even invite Gaspard. Anyway, that's it. See ya. Sorry to keep emailing you, but anyway, do you know about customization? Yeah, I already know about that. Hakudo. Did I accidentally send you an email meant for someone else? I'm terribly sorry for the intrusion. Please ignore it. How did you even get the email? Come to the at-home located in Makanu's mercenary district. I'll take you to our guild Raven. Oh, and don't tell anyone else about this. It's a sensitive matter for us to communicate with specific players.
CC Corp. There's a good chance they'd know something normal players wouldn't. No matter how insignificant it might be, as long as I can get some information on Shino and Tri-Edge, I don't care.
Very narrow-minded, but okay.
Kuhn's waiting for me in the mercenary district. I'd better hurry.
Alright. Kuhn, girls I like a lot. Oh no, he's the pervy character. Girls I don't. None. Favorite colors are orange, yellow, and red. His saying is, okay, let's go for it. Okay, so I should probably form parties with Adelie, Kuhn, or Gaspard so I can raise their affection levels. Let's see. Kuhn and Adelie, probably. Because Adelie's a dedicated healer. You know what? While we're here, we'll go ahead and we'll do the official thing. Welcome to the World, an MMORPG enjoyed by many players worldwide. Gain fame as a top-class adventurer, become an Emperor of the Colosseo, take part in quests and explore the world, or just relax in the gorgeous scenery. There's more than one way to enjoy the world, and more than one path to take. You too can become a resident of the world and live the life you desire. Crest and Steam technology. This is a Chaos Gate. This is a crest device that is key to creating a barrier that stops monsters from invading the town. Okay, so some lore. Each town has at least one Chaos Gate, which you must use to warp into a field or a dungeon. Steam Alchemy. This is an alchemy device created by combining Steam and Crest technology. Just toss an item in from old equipment to spare items, and the device will transform it into a different item. Although the device was first intended to transform scrap iron into gold, the types of items that can be transformed are now restricted by law, as economists worry it would wreak havoc on the economy. Yeah, God forbid, inflation. Steam Bike, a steam-powered bike invented by humans. It's an extremely expensive item. Riding around on one of these is guaranteed to earn you jealous stares from people in town. The gondola has historically been used to navigate the canals of Makanu. Transportation provided by gondolas used to be essential to everyday life, but with the steady advance in technology, they've mostly lost their original purpose, becoming more of a tourist attraction for Makanu. Genesis of Grief. Long, long ago, before the earth and the heavens existed, two brothers lived in the world. Able to read each other's hearts without so much as a glance, the two were fully satisfied. Right? Yeah. The world was two, the two were the world. One day, the elder deity accidentally broke the younger deity's treasured sword. Furious, the younger deity retaliated by slashing the elder deity's treasured spear with his broken sword. The spear was split in half, and the elder deity erupted in anger. And so, glaring at each other, one holding his broken sword and the other his spear, they fought. The war waged for 7 days and 7 nights. On the 8th day, the younger deity realized their foolishness and went to the elder deity to request a truce. But the elder deity, still blind with anger, saw this as an opening and thrust his spear. The spear pierced the chest of the younger deity and took his life. Well, that's sad. The younger deity's final breath became the heavens, and his fallen body became the earth. The fountain of blood erupted high and became the sun. The broken sword shattered and formed the moons and stars in the heavens. Feeling great shame, the elder deity wept. His tears became rain and fell to earth, forming oceans in steep contours. From eternal tranquility, the world was set into motion. The elder deity mourned the loss of the younger deity for many years, but eventually he grew accustomed to his sad, lonely life. One day, unable to bear his loneliness any longer, the elder deity removed one of his eyes and created a goddess. The new goddess looked at the elder deity and exclaimed, "Thou art handsome," and with her voice, the world was filled with sound. The elder deity and the new goddess gave names to each other. The elder deity received the name of Sol, the god of creation, and the goddess Mulin, the goddess of harvest. Then the elder deity created a land of the dead in the darkest part of the world. He sealed the spirit of the younger deity and gave him the name of Cernunnos, the lord of the dead. This was how all things were named and given a purpose. Sol gave birth to more gods and goddesses. Mulin gave the new gods names, and Sol gave them purpose. One ruled the sun, and another ruled the oceans. One ruled the weaving thread, and another the stoves. This was how the sun traveled the sky, the oceans beat against the shores, the loom spit out threads, and the stoves held the fire within. Sol then gave birth to trees, plants, beasts, birds, fishes, and insects. They all spread throughout the world, each finding a place to live. The world was filled with life. Last to be created were the elves. Sol created them in his image, and it was them he loved best. Sol asked all the gods and all the creatures to grant the elves their blessings. Each god, goddess, and creature happily gave its blessing to the elves. As a result, the elves were faster, stronger, smarter, and more beautiful than any other creature, and moreover, they could speak the languages of all creatures. However, Cernunnos, the lord of the dead, withheld his blessing from the elves. Unaware of darkness, the elves' hearts were ever wrapped in light. But because of it, they had an incredible innocence in them. The gods entrusted the earth to the elves and created their own realm in the heavens, known as Erseltrai, the city of dawn. And so the elves ruled the earth, and the gods ruled the heavens. The gods built a path connecting earth and heaven and called it the Heavenly Path. The Heavenly Path was used to deliver the light of the heavens and the gods down to earth. Guarded by the light of the sun and the light of gods, life on earth flourished, and it seemed that peace would last forever. But as time passed, the elves began to believe that their powers equaled those of the gods. They built the aerial fortress Fort Alf in the sky to enter the realm of the gods, insisting that they too be treated as deities. Sol was furious, and he took from the elves all that was good in them. The elves became slower, weaker, and uglier than any other creature. Mulin scorned these foolish creatures and named them humans. Assholes. There were some who protested the treatment of the elves at the hands of the gods. These were the elves who had not wished to challenge the gods to begin with. They stormed the heavenly path and threw themselves before the gods, crying, "Why must you punish us when it was not we who drew our swords against you?" The gods answered, "That is true, but that is not the only sin." The elves asked again, "What do you mean by that, O gods?" The gods answered back, "Very well then, when your brethren raised their swords against us, Where were you, and what were you doing?" To that the elves replied, "We were at the altars praying to you, our gods. We prayed that the fools who disobeyed you would receive your divine punishment." The gods retorted, "Were you not merely praying that your own lives be spared?" The elves' faces turned red, and they could not reply. Suddenly the gods showed their anger. "You are more foolish than the fools who do not know their place, lower even than the humans. From this day on you shall wear a mark showing your supposed innocence and piety." And just as the thundering judgment was made, each of the elves that gathered at the heavenly path began to transform. They grew tails, and their beautiful faces turned into those of beasts. When they saw how they were changed, they screamed in shame and disappeared to dark corners of the world. So were those beasts or beastmen? God, there's so much. Grunty race. Having lost their wisdom, humans brought war and chaos to the world. They had been reduced to creatures concerned only with domination, and so they commenced to make war on all other races. Sol gazed down in sadness at the ruined earth and decided to use the goodness that he had taken from the elves to create the race of Grunties. He dispatched them to return peace to the world. So that's what Grunties are for. But the gods were afraid that the Grunties would suffer the same flaw as the elves and voiced objections to Sol's action. And so Sol cast a curse upon the Grunties and proclaimed, "Listen carefully to me. I have cast a spell on you. It is a curse, and a magic word is its key. If someone, even just one person on this earth, says this word, a terrible calamity will befall every one of you." The Grunties beseeched him, "Great Lord, then how may we ensure this calamity does not come to pass?" Sol nodded his head and answered, "You must not oppress others. You must not be bitter. You must not be envious. Have a good and pure heart, and live your days peacefully." The secret word was told to all gods and all creatures except for humans. The gods were satisfied, and the Grunties were sent down to earth. Without shedding a drop of blood, the Grunties stopped the violence of the humans. Overjoyed, the gods created magical powers and bestowed them upon the Grunties. But even with such great power, the Grunties did not fall prey to the sin of pride. That's nice. The Grunties were loved by all creatures, with the exception of the bitterly jealous humans. This was because all of the things that made Grunties so wonderful had once belonged to the humans. Humans began to look for Grunties' weaknesses and learned of the curse that Sol had cast on them. Overjoyed, the humans next set out to learn the secret word, but even the normally talkative monkey would not betray it. So the humans held a banquet and invited all the gods and creatures in order to fog their minds with drink. One after another, the guests became intoxicated, until finally only the snake, the strongest drinker, remained. The snake still would not divulge the secret word, so the humans brought out their strongest drink and gave it to the snake. As expected, the snake became drunk and told the secret word to the humans. The humans rejoiced and intoned the word. Immediately, the Grunties lost their intelligence and found themselves unable to stand upright. The humans called them Puchipongo and made them into their beasts of burden. Then they proceeded to rekindle their war against the other races. Poor things. For telling the secret word, the snake was punished by having to forever crawl about the earth on its stomach. This sounds very, very similar to Genesis. How God cursed the serpent to have to crawl on its stomach. Oh, that's ugly. The gods fell into despair over the humans' deed. They created a great gateway called Morigbaro and blocked off earthly access to the heavenly path, so that none could ever more enter heaven. Along with the sealing of the heavenly path, the light of the gods was also blocked from the earth. Without the protection of the gods, the earth gradually became wilder and began to be corrupted by a dark power called the Shadow. In the vile influence of the Shadow, the earth overflowed with monsters and demons. These demons roamed the world and killed everything in their path. Many creatures were lost as a result of their brutality. Humans also came under attack by the monsters. They formed barriers in the major cities and closed themselves off. They fought against the monsters, but lost battle after battle. One by one, the cities were cut off from each other, and the barriers protecting the cities were destroyed one after another. Finally, only 5 cities remained standing. And I'm guessing those are the different what do you call servers? The server towns, the root towns. The savior of mankind was a young apprentice magician. He confined himself in the temple of Arche Keln and prayed to the gods. In exchange for his life, he was able to call upon the 6 great spirits and 2 goddesses. The 8 gods that were summoned were Vulcan, the fire spirit, Meros, the water spirit, Crake, the wood spirit, Yarthkins, the earth spirit, Lancior, the lightning spirit, Wyrnek, the darkness spirit, Anu, the star goddess, and Aurora, the goddess of light. The light of the gods shined once more on the blessed earth, and the shadow was contained. Thanks to the newfound peace, humans once again prospered, but it did not last long. Once the threat of the shadow was gone, the humans began to fight with others. After sealing the shadow, the 8 gods and goddesses remained on Earth, but some were angered by the foolishness of humans, and others grieved their wretchedness, and left, until finally only Aurora remained. Fearing that the light of heaven would again depart the Earth, humans placed 8 curses on Aurora and sealed her inside the Hologrons Cathedral. That's horrible! When the gods learned that the goddess had been imprisoned, their fury knew no bounds, and they vowed to destroy mankind. But the humans had no intention of meekly succumbing to extinction, and used their magic powers to devise a weapon that they could use to fight against the gods. So began the war between the gods and the humans. The humans were no match for the power of the gods. The aerial city of Fort Alf fell from the sky, and the highland city of Dunloriag was crushed underneath it. The cultural city of Carmina Gadalica was destroyed by the god of lightning, and many lives were lost. As a result, the humans took all of Aurora's power, transformed it into magic power, and fired it at the heavens. Heaven was engulfed in flame, and the gods fled or fell burning to die upon the earth. The humans sacrificed much as well. The relic city, Leophile, from whence the goddess's power was fired, was reduced to ashes, and many excellent magicians died along with it. And so ended the age of the gods. And we're only halfway done. We're almost done. Jeez, there's more. All the gods in heaven disappeared, but a single god who remained on earth lived. This was the god of law, Fulset, who guarded the gate that blocked the heavenly path. That's the god we see as the beast statues in the Delta server, at least. Winning the war against the gods, the humans wanted the wisdom and the power of the gods for themselves, storming Morag Barrow and demanding that Fulset invite them into the realm of the gods. But Fulset refused to grant them entry. At first, the humans pointed their weapons at Fulset and demanded he open the gate, but Fulset answered thus, "Do whatever you wish, there is no way any of your weapons can harm me." The humans followed his words and tried to attack Fulset in any way they could, but they were unable to harm even a single hair on his head. Once they learned that force was hopeless, they tried to convince him to open the gates by seducing him with gifts. After seeing the gifts, Fulset said, "Build a mountain of gifts for me if you wish. I'll make a mountain twice that size in an instant." Before Fulset was even finished completing his sentence, a mountain of gifts, more lavish than the gifts of the humans, sprang up before their eyes. After learning that both force and flattery were of no avail, the humans got on their knees and begged pathetically. If a power greater than the shadow should emerge, we would fall into ruin. But if we could regain the wisdom and power that lies beyond this gate, we would be able to protect ourselves and not fight one another. So please, open the gate. Fulset laughed and answered them, "Was it not you who took up sword and shield and slew the gods? You should suffer for your sins." Protesting, the humans replied, "So are you saying that we should have simply allowed the gods to drive us all to extinction?" Fulset shook his head and answered, "Recall first the sins that you committed. Is it not just that sinners receive judgment?" To this, the humans could make no reply. Fulset continued, "But all beings have the right to atone for their sins. Human, child of sin, if you want this gate opened, then bring back the lost gods. The gods will rise again, born from the dogma of believers. If they are true gods, then I will open this gate. Bring back what has been lost, and only then can you be pardoned." And so the humans argued over the gods' rebirth and once again made war against each other. Yay, more war. A world without gods. Without the gods, the world fell into stagnation. With none to command them, the sun stood in place and tides ceased to ebb and flow. The looms gave forth no thread and the ovens no warmth. Mankind now had to perform all of these functions themselves. Despite their hardships, Despite these hardships, humans did not cease their wars with each other. Soon they invented different types of magical tools to improve their lives. 10 years after the Great War with the gods, a researcher visited the ruins of Fort Alf. Many had avoided the ruins of Fort Alf, Leofail, Carmina Gadalica, and Dunloriag after the Great War in fear and hatred that they were haunted by the spirits of the dead, gods, and goddesses. This belief was further enhanced by the fact that most who set out to explore the ruins never came back. However, this particular researcher did return, and he brought along with him a creature with the body of a human and the head and tail of an animal. The creature was a beast. At first, humans and beasts were friendly with each other, but while the beasts revered nature and old ways, the humans were too innovative. It was the beasts who first discovered the creatures called chimchims. When the beasts saw the light of the gods in the chims, they decided to revere them as a legacy of the gods, but the humans captured the chims to research them, and after discovering a way to extract the energy, used them to invent steam machines. The beasts protested this treatment, but the humans wouldn't listen. As the humans' use of steam technology advanced, they abandoned magic as old and obsolete. The beasts continued to revere magic culture and rejected steam technology. Humans scoffed at the beasts for being stubborn and small-minded, and beasts came to despise the humans' foolishness. Eventually, the beasts decided they could not leave the gods' rebirth to the fools, and proclaimed that they too would participate in the gods' rebirth. Fulcet granted their participation. Humans were outraged. They believed that the gods' rebirth was their right. The two sides' antagonism towards each other began to deepen, and finally war broke out. Humans gathered their armies and steam weapons, but found their weapon production was lagging behind. Desperate, they built the great factory of Breg Epona, but still they were unable to create the necessary weapons. Beasts were mighty in the ways of magic, but small in numbers. They were unable to marshal a large enough army. Humans were weaker, but more numerous. Beasts were stronger, but fewer in number. And the war continued to wage on. Okay, finally, last part of the history. Jesus! Eventually, both humans and beasts grew tired of the long years of war. However, neither side was able to strike a decisive blow, and none knew a way to stop the cycle of wars and bring the entire gruesome conflict to an end. In this never-ending cycle, a new faction was born, composed of both humans and beasts. The new faction concentrated on pure pursuit of power and incorporated the crest technology derided by humans and the steam technology loathed by beasts. Both human and beasts feared that this new faction would enter the war, and each side sent emissaries to the other and called for a ceasefire. At first, both races were hesitant, but they were forced to accept the sheer toll brought on by the war. And so the war between the two races ended, but the conflict continued. Beasts continued to insist on participating in the gods' rebirth, and the new faction proclaimed their participation as well. Humans chanted for steam technology and innovation. Beasts were for crest technology and tradition, and the new faction for the pure pursuit of power. They began a quiet, colder war. No winner was decided in this war since no gods were born from any of these forces. The three-way war smoldered, and in time the factions came to be called the following. Arvok the Innovators, Ognios the Conservatives, and Teutots the Pursuers. To this day, the three-way war knows no end, and it quietly drives the world ever closer to its doom. Races, all the races. Yeah, we're not going through these. If y'all want to know more, you can let me know. I'm just getting rid of the new labels because I'm okay. So I've got to get ready for work. So thank you anyone who tuned in. Wish I could stay on longer, but I've got to work tonight. I will go ahead and leave it here. So thank you, everybody, so much for watching. If you're watching on the archive, I hope you enjoyed the little the little history lesson. If you skipped, that's okay too. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this series. I am honestly very excited to be back in the saddle again. Be sure to follow me here on Twitch, subscribe to my YouTube for any archives that go up. If you haven't already, be sure to check out my line of merchandise over on Teespring. That's TEEspring.stores or .com/stores/GG557-store. Yeah, any and all proceeds that go to this channel go to upgrading my hardware. And with that, I really need to get ready for work. So, again, thank you everybody so much for watching. My name is Geeky Gamer, and I'll see you guys probably Tuesday for another stream. Take care.